about why long COVID hits with so many systemic problems, right? And why it destroys so many systems at once. I had an amazing session with a client today who is she was so sweet. But some of the stuff that she's been treated for the last few years with doctors and whatnot have left her stumped and then left her without a whole lot of options. And so working on her has been very interesting. And I'm going to actually work on her sister. She's, I think, 71. Her sister's 73. So some of the stuff I found with her, surprisingly enough, had to do with COVID, post-COVID, long haul COVID. And she had no idea. And none of her doctors have talked to her about it or even addressed it. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to come on. We're going to talk about it. Come here. My little dog is having a cow. She's not my dog. She's Brindy's dog. But she is having a cow because she wants attention. So if you are watching, say hello. It is Thursday afternoon. So much going on in the news. And it's interesting right now. Like things are very, very interesting. So many people are struggling with long haul COVID. And while I have to be very careful about the things I talk about, we're going to talk about things that you can investigate on your own. So this is not medical advice. This is research that I have done. I've built this entire database of root causes on top of being an integrative healing master practitioner and working on people's health. I also help people with crisis, and I'm a high performance coach and a life coach, but I work it holistically with people, and health is one of the things I don't feel like I can leave out. So I handle everything, right? I don't fragment you like you find in traditional treatments, and you don't need multiple coaches, right? Like if you've gone to coaching for help on the mental side, performance side, you typically need a life coach, an executive coach, and all these. I do all of it. I do strategy, but I also handle the trauma side of it. But on the health side, I have been a practitioner since 2000, over 26 years. And I used to run 2 offices in Colorado. So I'm never going to get rid of that side of my practice or my services, because a lot of people will come to me and they're like, I have so much anxiety and I have so much trauma. Can you help me? Yes. But we can't get there until this nervous system settles, until the body settles. So people with chronic illness have such a hard time trying to live in the world without having to address those issues. So I address those issues too. And I always recommend you work with your doctor or your functional medicine doctor. This does not replace that, right? But I get very good results. I do biomagnetism therapy. I do Rife therapy and scalar and PEMF and ultrasound, all kinds of stuff. But when I do an initial client session, I will get their history. And because I am a clairvoyant, I can put together the patterns of where stuff started and what triggered it. There's always a trigger when there's health issues, right? There's always something that triggers it, some sort of a pathogen, a virus, bacteria, a parasite, a fungus. Something triggered it, or even a physical wound or trauma. Something triggered it. Since the pandemic, I have seen multiple clients with things like MS, myasthenia gravis, long haul COVID, and the latest client came to me because she is studying biomagnetism therapy, but she's beginner at it, and she's tired of not feeling well. And she's like, I just want someone to work on me. It's really hard to work on yourself when you have chronic issues, because you have to put a lot of pairs of magnets on. And if you guys don't know what I mean by magnets, let me get some magnets. Hold on. We're talking about, I use neodymium magnets. Some people use ferrite. I use high gas neodymium magnets. You have a positive polarity and a negative polarity. And when we, hey Brenda, when we place them on the body, it creates balance within the body. And a lot of times it kicks your body sealing system in, right? That's what I'm going to say about that. But this client today, she's wonderful. She came to me because she is studying biomagnetism therapy, mainly because she needs it for herself. And she's a yoga instructor at 71. She's this spry, just amazing woman from Colombia. She's such a cute lady, and she's just full of energy. And I was so excited to work with her. She contacted me through Google the other day, like she found me on Google. And she said, well, I have interstitial cystitis. I hate saying that word. It's so hard to say it. And I'm like, okay. So I did her history intake. On a Zoom, we started to go through her history. How long have you been, treated by your doctors for it? What's been happening? What resolution do you have? Blah, blah, blah. What did they test for? And the first thing I thought of is, hold on a minute, because she has bladder problems. Listening at lunch, right on. What's up, girl? Good to see you, Megs. She has bladder issues. Interstitial cystitis, it creates scar tissue in your bladder area with your tubes and everything, urgency to go to the bathroom all the time, infections, multiple UTIs, blah, blah, blah. Did they ever test you for E. coli is what I first asked her. And she goes, no. What do you mean they didn't test you for E. coli? All right. So now I'm thinking. And then the next thing I thought was, have you been tested for Epstein-Barr? Do you know what Epstein-Barr is? Y'all know I have found hundreds of links to autoimmune disorders and chronic conditions to Epstein-Barr. The research is there. It's out there. A lot of times you have to go into the medical journals and the science journals outside of the US to find the studies, but they do exist. You have to be persistent. So any of you that work with clients in health, or any of you that are struggling with chronic illness, I'm telling you, Epstein-Barr has it is a factor in so many chronic conditions. MS, lupus, a lot of the long haul people actually have undiagnosed Epstein-Barr. So we look at that. With her condition, she also has hearing loss. So I started to track back and I was like, have you ever had the vid? And she said, actually, this all started around that time in 2020. Okay, interesting. Did you have any of the shots? Moderna. And I had to be hospitalized on the second one. It almost took me out. Again, gotta be careful what I said. Interesting. All right. So now I go into the research studies. That's what I do before I meet with a client. I do a scan of over, hey, Valerie, of over 400 different items, pathogens. I look at all of the viruses, all of the bacteria, all of the parasites, all of the fungus, all of the organ systems, all of the places where these things will hide, and go through the body and see, okay, is this affected? Is that affected? Blah, blah, blah. Do all those things. That's the technical aspect. But then I go search the research. Funny enough, not so funny, there are studies that have been reported, and I actually did find one on PubMed where they are linking, but again, it's not from this country. There are some U.S. doctors that jump in on this research. There is COVID-19 associated cystitis. They call it CAC, not just IC, interstitial cystitis. Sometimes they'll diagnose someone with IC6, IC8, different versions. They've treated her. She's been through functional medicine. She's been through holistic medicine. She's like, I found you and everything you say makes so much sense. I would love to have a session with you. I said, because you're training in biomagnet. And she goes, no. She's such, she goes, I want to get better. So after I did that research, then I did her scan. And sure enough, Epstein-Barr, right? For a lot of you that struggle with chronic conditions, whether you're talking Lyme, mycoplasma, Lyme and Morgellons, or you're talking long haul, or you're talking autoimmune disorder, lupus, MS, you've got to look and see if you have reactivated Epstein-Barr, EBV. 95% of the population has EBV in their systems. Epstein-Barr is the virus known to cause mononucleosis. Even if you never had mono, if you were exposed to someone with mono, you could have the virus in your system, and then that puppy goes dormant. It goes and hides in stealth mode and actually has this mechanism within it. And there's been research about that came out years ago, that it goes in what's called stealth mode. All right. It literally can hide from your immune, your antibodies, your immune system and your antibodies. So in stealth mode, once that puppy gets reactivated, you're in trouble. Epstein-Barr tends to like to dance with other pathogens. The main one for the longest time was strep. So if you got mono, chances are you got strep at the same time. You clear the strep with the antibiotics. Epstein-Barr is a virus. And if they didn't treat you with the proper antivirals, they didn't knock it out. It went stealth, and then it will get reactivated later. What reactivates it? All of the studies that are out, and why so many people are chronically ill since COVID, since the jabs and all of that. Whether or not you got the jabs isn't even the issue. If you did, you probably got worse after the jabs because of the things in that. But with long haul, it reactivates Epstein-Barr. Then your immune system drops. Once your immune system drops, Epstein-Barr takes off, goes all over, likes to hide in the brainstem. So you know how with like chronic conditions, especially with long haul, a lot of people deal with depression, anxiety, and they haven't dealt with it before. Where it hits in the brainstem and where it hides, it literally will cause, and especially for women, because it loves to feed on hormones, just saying. So once a month you may get it. It's been associated with PMDD, premenstrual what is it called? Dysphoric disorder, whatever. It makes 3 days before your period, you get anxious, you get depressed, you get all kinds of stuff. It affects your mood like crazy. Now, once your cycle's over, all of a sudden you're back to normal and you're not out of control. So Stabby Unicorn, what's up? So what I found with her was, in fact, everything, all of her symptoms, her hearing loss, mind you, she's 71, but she's in great shape. She's a yoga teacher. Her hearing loss, her pelvic pain, her pelvic floor weakness, her interstitial cystitis, which is what they were treating her for with antibiotics and all the things and all these crazy treatments. She's doing all these crazy treatments, but it's gotten better, but it has not gone away. Low back pain. All of those things are all symptoms post-COVID. And like I said, they don't call it IC, they call it CAC, COVID-associated cystitis. So if you know somebody who's having all kinds of bladder infections, kidney problems, blah, blah, blah. If you know someone that's been treated for IC, interstitial cystitis, it may be tied to post-COVID. I worked on her today. We did 2 sets of magnets. She had like 57 pairs. And while she was laying there, we were talking. She was such a delight to work with. And she's into Vedic astrology on top of everything else, which I was like, I am so lit up. She was like, I can feel it. She had said at the beginning of the session, she goes, I'm probably going to have to get up before the second set and use the bathroom if that's okay, because I have urgency all the time because of the IC. I said, okay. Pulled the first set off, and she had been on the table for probably 35 minutes once I got them all on and set the timer. Pulled those off. And I said, do you need to take a break? Do you need to go to the, she goes, oh, so weird. I don't have to go to the bathroom. So I was like, okay. She goes, keep going. We did them all. She was on the table for over an hour, pulled the second set off. No back pain, no knee pain. Like, she was like, I've not felt, she goes, you know, in yoga, we hit this relaxation place when we're doing yoga and we're doing the meditations that just makes you feel this grounded calm. She's like, I can't believe I feel that right now. She goes, I feel so good. I'm going to bring my sister to you. She got up. After she got up, she wasn't even in a hurry to go to the bathroom. I was like, put your shoes on. I'll take you in the house. Let me lock up the dogs. And then we'll finish talking, because I had printed out a bunch of studies for her own knowledge, potentially to take to her functional medicine doctor or holistic naturopath doctor. She was working with an Ayurvedic person. That didn't work. And it's so expensive. And I can attest to that because I tried Ayurveda when I was sick with cancer. In any case, I printed a bunch of stuff. We were talking about Vedic astrology and everything under the sun. And she said, I want you to work on my sister. My sister's 73. She is 91 pounds right now. And I think she's dying. Like, I'm worried she's going to die. I'm like, oh, Nikia, what's up? Give me her symptoms. Let's start making a list. Let me start tracking it. And so she starts listing all of her symptoms. She has stones in her pancreatic ducts. And if any of you have ever experienced pancreatitis, it is the worst kind of pain. They did an endoscopy. The doctor was able to reach a couple of the stones and pull them out. And I said, they're not going to remove them. They're not going to do anything. She's like, they said it's too dangerous. So her sister can barely eat, and she's down to 91 pounds at 73 years old. She's in pain all the time. She did put magnets on her, I guess, last night, and the magnets had a good enough effect. Sister could go to sleep. Okay, so I start doing her intake. When did her stuff start? COVID vaccines. That's when it started. So after she left, I told her, I said, chances are she's got a lot of the same underlying root causes. She does. And I asked her about E. coli. She said they haven't tested for that, but they did treat her for H. pylori. Okay, but they haven't, they don't know if it's resolved, blah, blah, blah. She probably has small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Who knows? Hard to say without seeing her, but I sat down and did a protocol for her after I did a scan for her, knowing she's going to end up coming in probably this weekend because she's so ill and so much in pain. Same thing. Guess when it started? COVID, right after the vaccine. And she's like, my sister's got to come to you. The reason I'm sharing this with you guys, I have found so many chronic illnesses tied to the same pathogens. And I've shared this on live stream before, but I can't stress it enough. The research is there, and more research is coming out. Now in Japan, if you have like gastric cancer, they test you for Epstein-Barr. They will work on that, in the medical system in Japan, in Brazil. I think even in China, they actually do address it. The US does very rarely will they test you for Epstein-Barr. And a lot of times they're like, well, typically it goes dormant. That doesn't mean it's not having an effect. It's absolutely going to have an effect. We have to demand more from our health practitioners, especially at this time, with as long as people are remaining chronically ill. We have to. When I look at someone who's got a cascade of symptoms that all line up with autoimmune, that all line up with strange mystery illnesses, and they have not nailed them, although they try to. Typically, it's going to be the same line of pathogens that I see: Epstein-Barr, cytomegalovirus, mycoplasma pneumonia, mycoplasma tuberculosis, which is a slightly different variant of mycoplasma. Those are all going to be there, and half of those are viruses, so they don't ever get treated. And then you have to look at, okay, well, how far has this gone and where else is it affecting? And when you start to address those issues in the body, it's amazing how quickly you can get better. If any of you know you have EBV, you know you do, and you're not taking supplements for it like oregano oil to help kill it off and back it down, or, and this is the one that I think everyone needs to get, you guys can go get the link off my website, Lauricidin, which is from monolaurin. It's the original monolaurin. Lauricidin works really well. They're little pellets, and then you take it with L-lysine. Anybody who's had the vid, who's had chronic infections, I even if you don't get tested, go get. It's not going to hurt you. It's only going to help you, and actually helps with digestion and gut issues and gut bacteria. So if you go to my website, bernadettegold.com/supplements, you will find the Lauricidin, the original one. That's the most potent. It's been clinically studied. It is the ones that doctors refer to. It's a very good brand. And then L-lysine, I typically will get L-lysine from, is it Thorpe now? And I actually have a link on there for L-lysine too. And then oregano oil. And you can use the micro ingredients one. It literally, with black seed oil, it's hard to mess up oregano oil. I wish more people would start taking these types of supplements to address their health issues so they didn't have to suffer as much. But if you have CFS, right, chronic fatigue syndrome, lupus, MS, these are the original supplements that I'm going to tell you, start taking them. And then we either add or subtract depending on your deficiencies. Okay, a lot of people are magnesium deficient or vitamin B deficient, vitamin C, vitamin D, a lot of vitamin D deficiencies as well. And then making sure that your lymphatic system can clear out, and that your liver has the support it needs is the number one thing that I think we have to pay attention to. I always want to improve my digestion. Yeah, well, and see, she is going to take those things, my one client from today, but the other thing I told her, because she's highly constipated, she's having to take Miralax, and I'm like, go get Sienna instead of Miralax. I would say Sienna. You could take milk thistle, but the one thing I know about digestion from my own personal stuff, and you guys got to remember, when I had chemo and radiation, it was all very focused in my abdomen. So my entire digestive tract got ruined. It got burnt. It was a mess, right? Like the run's a mess. And I would either go all the time, like 15, 20 times a day, every time I eat something, it would come right back out, or then it got to constipation. So I used Ryze, R-Y-Z-E, mushroom coffee. You guys could look that up. That, I think, was the game changer for me when it came to repairing my digestive tract. And Ryze mushroom coffee has cordyceps, maitake, shiitake. It's got so many different mushrooms in it. It's not cheap, but I replaced my coffee with it in the mornings. I'm not really taking it that often now because my digestion seems to be back on track. I do take probiotics, but in the form of kimchi, natural probiotics. I don't like taking the pills if I don't have to. I'm already on probably like 15 supplements to get my brain functioning again, to get my lymphatics to drain. I drink every day. Dose. I tried Dose. Champional corn. I did try Dose. Andy had sent me a bunch of it when I was going through chemo. Didn't do shit. Did not. I mean, that's just my honest opinion. I like turmeric, but it didn't do anything. My dad asked me the other day because he saw a commercial for Dose, and I saw it being sold in HEB by us. It didn't do anything. Where the Ryze, the mushrooms, actually had a great effect on my digestion and on my digestive tract. So then I still have some. I take it when I need to, but I mean, I was taking it every single day when I was recovering from the radiation, because the radiation destroyed. Even worse, the chemo, it messed me up. Don't get me wrong, but I think the radiation burned some things in my intestines. Doses in the store, not Rise mushroom coffee. And some people are like, I did some research on this because Andy had asked me about what's the difference between Rise and mud coffee. Mud coffee has more caffeine and it's not as pure when it comes to the mushrooms. You want the mushrooms, right? The mushrooms is what does it. And they have multiple forms of mushrooms in that Rise coffee. Anyone that I've referred to taking it with digestive problems typically are going to see a shift and a change. Now, because I am having her do the oregano oil, what chances are you're going to have no problems, right? After that. But we'll see, right? We'll see. I think she too, from all the stuff that I worked on, I did a lot of digestive points and flow and pancreas with her as well, without even knowing about her sister, which pancreatitis is, I don't know if you guys know this, pancreatitis is one of the issues coming out of people now that they're finally discovering years later, side effects from the vaccines, depending on which ones you had. But I want to give you guys hope that even if you took the jab, whatever one, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, whatever, there are ways to reverse the damage that was done without just taking pills, because the pills are only going to take you so far. You've got to go after the root cause. I'm all about root cause, whether it's your mind root cause, your belief system, it's a pathogen in your body that's causing your health issues. It's a pattern in your life that's causing, ceilings that you're bumping up against. I am a root cause practitioner. That is where I start. That is what always works for me. And I've been at this a very long time. But the research is there. I mean, it's there. Anywho, the Rise you can find on their website. I do think that they sell it on Amazon, but I think it's more expensive. Amazon's down. Y'all, checkout is down on Amazon. I made a video about it because I was trying to buy printer ink because my scans are 9 pages long. Like when I work on someone with biomagnetism therapy, it's a 9-page scan. And I don't mean like big. See how narrow those columns are? 9 pages of tiny print. And I ran out of ink. I don't know why either. I'm a little upset with Epson because I literally just put brand new black ink in my printer. Epson original black ink last week, and it's saying it's out of ink, and I have not printed that much at all. Like, what do you mean I'm out of ink? How the hell am I out of ink? So I don't know if it was the update or it needs to be. It's really messed up that ink lasted all of maybe 30 pages of printing. And now I have to buy more. And they're $40 a cartridge. So I'm not happy with the printer people, the Epson people, at all. I just bought some of the Excel ink to see if it makes that much of a difference. I used it before and it seemed to, but then why are you selling regular ink if you know it runs out after a dozen pages? I know it's not cheap. I was really pissed about that. I was like, what? What do you mean I'm out of black ink? And now I just replaced all my color cartridges probably a month ago, and I don't print color. I always print grayscale, and it's like almost out of ink on there too. I'm like, you guys suck. I just spent $135 to reorder ink, and I'm pissed. Well, I haven't done it yet. It's in my cart. Amazon's checkout is down, which if you know anything about the Amazon AWS, those data centers are in outside of Dubai, the UAE. They're in the Middle East. We have had a ton of websites down, especially e-commerce sites, in the last 4 days. So I don't know when they're going to get that fixed. We shall see. But if you guys do try to go onto Amazon, that would be why it's not working. It's not just you. I always check downdetector.com because it will always say Claude AI went down the other day because they use the AWS servers as well. They were down for probably 6 hours. Then they came back, went down again. That's all because of what's going on in Iran. That being said, as this BS continues, we're going to have more and more problems like that. Because if they destroy those data centers, we're talking millions of dollars to repair them and to fix them. Anywho, do you guys have any questions? Do you have any health issues that you want to talk about? My main thing, especially for those, because I have a lot of people that follow me that do biomagnetism therapy or do Rife therapy, or they just do Reiki or whatever they do. I like to share some of my findings with people so they know what to look for, right? In Hidden Wisdom, we have, I think, 1, 2, 3 practitioners that are biomagnetism practitioners in there. So typically I do like health stuff. This will go into their library as well, where we tear apart root cause, look for this and place for that. And I'm not kidding when I say, if you guys saw my database that I've been building since last summer in a spreadsheet, all of the overlapping chronic conditions who share the same pathogens, right? There are always going to be different ones added on beyond these, but the main ones are SARS-CoV-2, Mycoplasma, Epstein-Barr, cytomegalovirus, and sometimes HH7. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember off the top of my head, but those are always overlapping, even in people with Parkinson's. And I don't know if you guys saw this. There was recent studies, a recent research study that just blew the lid off of the whole cholesterol thing. I have to look for the article and share it on my blog. You know how the whole cholesterol and they want you to take statin drugs and all of that? There's new research that just dropped within the last few weeks that people with high cholesterol, especially if they're over 50, actually live longer with less chronic illness, as long as they're not taking statins. It's not tied to heart problems. In fact, people with high cholesterol don't have as many heart problems. What does that tell you? What does that tell you guys? Think about that for a minute. Because my dad, I've been fighting with him off and on, and sometimes he listens, and then sometimes the doctor gets to him whenever he goes to see them. They got him taking statins again, and his memory was going to shit. I was like, Dad, you do know statins are directly tied to dementia and Alzheimer's? Do you not know that? Did you not know that? And I don't know if you guys know that, but statin drugs, the cholesterol drugs, are directly tied to increased susceptibility to Alzheimer's and dementia. And when he was on those statins, he literally could not remember shit. He could not process stuff. Pulled him off and he was fine. And then I showed him that study and he was like, oh my God. I'm like, for real? For real? Even the way the blood pressure is tracked and how they get people on blood pressure medicine, if you look at the real data, your blood pressure should be 110 and then half your age added on to that is your normal top line for your blood pressure. So my dad's 84. They were trying to keep him around 136. I'm like, no, you can be in the 140s, 150s and be okay. I'm like, do you feel bad when it's up? No, I don't feel bad, but my monitor says that it's high. I'm like, okay, but you don't feel bad. So you think because the number's up there, you're going to pop another pill and then you get super tired and you wonder why. Because you don't need that pill. And those pills, when they put you on multiple, are responsible for kidneys. Our brains do need cholesterol. Our hearts do too. Like, they've been thinking about this shit all wrong. wrong. I've been working with him on my Rife machine with peptide frequencies for AFib and high blood pressure, and his blood pressure is actually stabilized really well. So it seems like he's happy. I'm doing peptides now for me for metabolism, because chemo and radiation tend to kill your metabolism when you have to take steroids for as long as I had to take, because it was part of my chemo treatment. But then high dose, like it just messed my body up. So yeah, it's crazy, crazy, crazy. Anywho, I just thought I'd pop on. I had time. I'm not going to have time later to come on, but I'm so excited. I'm so excited about her. The universe is so amazing, because when we were talking, I don't remember how it came up, but somehow we ended up talking about Vedic astrology. She goes, "Oh, you like Vedic astrology?" I was like, "Yes, I do. And I've been doing Western for 30 years. And she's like, I do Vedic astrology." So she pulled my chart up on her phone, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you have this and you have that." And she's like, "And I have a friend who's really good at charts. I'm going to have him do one for you." If they'd stop messing with our food. Yeah, that too. The food, the water, and stop giving pills to every damn thing that blows by, and stop ignoring the data outside of the US when it comes to the research done on post-COVID and the vaccines, right? SARS-CoV-2 is literally caused a reactivation of Epstein-Barr, and people even that are already dealing with chronic health issues, it just magnified, amplified, and multiplied all of it. Hi, Lisa. It will be recorded. Like, you'll be able to watch the whole thing once I'm done. How are you doing? Welcome in. Yeah, all of that too, right? My aim right now, because I've talked to multiple people in the last week that are either thinking about giving up their insurance, or they already gave up their insurance because the deductibles are insane. Someone I know very well was telling me, and she has a very good insurance plan. She works for the government. She has one of the highest plans available. Her and her husband pay, and they don't have kids, $900 a freaking month premiums, and their deductible is $6,000 a year. Tell me how that's fucking reasonable, y'all. Let's do the math on that. Where's my damn calculator? I was like, what? So you're talking 900 times 12. That's $10,800 for premiums for two people. Okay. But then you go 10,800 plus 6,000. That's 16,800 plus another 6,000, because the deductible is only for each person. $22,800 for freaking health insurance before they pay for jack, and then you still have copays. That's what I told her too. You might as well self-pay, because you'd be way better off. I don't know how many people, would you stop? I don't know how many people realize how much cheaper it is to get your blood drawn direct from the labs, and everybody has labs close to them. Cheaper to do self-pay. She had to have an MRI. She said her end of it was $3,000. $3,000 was her copay, her co-insurance. So now we're talking, she would, by the end of all of this, end up spending how much? $25,000 a year to deal with her insurance. Like, who can afford that? Somebody explain to me who's paying that and who can afford that. And you guys have you noticed that the Affordable Care Act conversation just sort of died and went away? They do give cash pay discounts at most facilities. Yes, they do. Absolutely. It's way cheaper. Like I told her, typically an MRI is going to cost you, if you're cash pay, between $1,200 and $1,800 if you're self pay. I know this because I was self pay for 25 years, right? Like I didn't have insurance until I had to get chemo. But that's what the Amish do. Yeah, for real. Like you're better off. The thing is too, because I was talking to, where was I the other day? Oh, I was getting my hair done. I got my hair cut. And my hairdresser, we were talking about, she goes, I need to do something because I can't afford my insurance anymore. Well, there's all these doctors now that are doing membership clinics where you pay X amount of money to like $90 a month, which gives you X amount of visits and calls and blah, blah, blah. A lot of doctors' offices are going that direction because they have to pivot too, right? There's a lot of those options out there. Amazon has one. I wouldn't recommend it, but I'm just saying you can do that as well. And then at least if you have prescriptions, you can get those done. My doctor is very good. My primary, she saw me through the cancer treatment and everything. Her office visits are $65. She sends me to the lab with an order. I go get my lab work, and then she sends me she sends the prescriptions for like my thyroid off. No big deal. So between the lab work and just my thyroid medicine and my inhaler, which I only use in an emergency, and because Texas has a ton of allergens, I'm probably paying $250 a year just for basic upkeep and care, for the care, not the prescriptions. But just 200 max between the office visit and whatever, which what is way less than the $9,000 deductible they wanted in the premium. There are options out there, y'all. There's options. I prefer dealing with naturopaths and functional medicine doctors anyways. However, both of those options are very expensive. I literally just, you said, what? You sent me an email? Oh, right on. I have, with my Rife, a way to do DNA blood sample biofeedback when somebody comes in person. It can be done with a nail sample. It's so much better to do it, or with like TENS pads, but way more accurate with a blood sample. So I can tell typically what is going on. Plus I have another high-powered machine that can test all the organ systems and test for pathogens and stuff like that. So I typically know what's going on with me. Even when I had cancer, I knew for a couple of years. I hopped here, you're live. Funny how that works. I'll check my email. It's good to see you, Miss Leah. Anywho, you guys have any questions? Do you have anything you're dealing with? It doesn't have to be health related. I came on the health related stuff because I have worked on a number of people this year that have long haul COVID stuff, but it wasn't diagnosed by their doctors as long haul COVID. They weren't being treated for it. And most doctors don't know what to treat for long haul. They really don't. They aren't looking at Epstein-Barr. They are not looking for mycoplasma pneumonia or mycoplasma tuberculosis or they're just not. I think the more you guys come to terms with and get used to these terms, the better off you're going to be. All of these have certain supplements that can handle them, but then you have to do additional things on top of it, like biomagnetism therapy, Rife therapy, frequency therapy, sometimes ultrasound. I have a ton of different equipment. Like I don't know if you guys can see. Oh, wrong way. You see that box right there? There. It's called the Central, the Spooky Central. I have Rife generators that hook into that Central, which is a high frequency generator. And I have a Fanatron tube, a Tesla coil as well for heavy duty stuff. So someone comes in and they lay in my recliner, and we put that ball of light, the Tesla ball, over the top of them and send specific frequencies to deal with what's going on in their body. When my client's sister comes, as long as she's feeling okay and she's not herxing, not having a healing crisis after the magnets, I'm going to get her in the chair and we're going to run those two, as well as some ultrasound frequencies to try and break up those crystals in her pancreatic ducts, because the doctors are saying there's nothing they can do. You're seeing an Eastern medicine doctor? Right on. Seeing a lot of Epstein-Barr in your clients. Girlfriend, you should always test for it. Honestly, scan for it, because the COVID thing really brought Epstein-Barr out of hiding. The SARS-CoV-2 reactivated a lot of people's dormant Epstein-Barr. And when 95% of the population already has it in their bodies, hiding and dormant and stealth, along comes COVID, SARS-CoV-2, boom. Now we have a problem. And then your immune system's already taxed, right? It has a chance to proliferate like crazy. I was just going through my notes. I really want one. Still haven't gotten it. It's so complicated. I mean, I'm running right now. I'm up to six generators I'm running, because I'm running a bunch of people long distance ongoing 24/7. So whether I do long distance or in person, biomagnetism therapy, the recommendation, depending on how chronically ill they are, how acutely ill they are, we follow up with 24/7 RIFE. So those systems I keep in my house because my air conditioning is running all the time. And then I bring them out here when I need them. I have one unit out here, but out here is where I meet with clients with biomag, and when I'm doing coaching. So I keep all that other stuff in the house, but it's come in handy. It's pretty amazing. There's new peptide frequencies that were added, and my God, they're freaking amazing. Like, they're so good. Doing it long distance remote takes a little bit longer, but it still works. I mean, I've been working on this one woman who, again, post-COVID, lots of problems, post-COVID, brain fog, all kinds of issues. And I did magnets. Someone else did magnets on her. They referred her to me to follow up with the RIFE, and she's gone 4 months. She said she feels almost brand new now. And she had been fighting it for the last few years. So if you know someone who could be helped, or, might need, they can always just book a consult with me. I'll talk to them about what I would recommend. I also, depending again on deficiencies, I'm going to recommend certain supplements. I took my curtain down from my little transom windows, and now the light is coming through. There are 5 things I look for right away. EBV's the first. It affected me so much until you figured it out. Yeah. Mycoplasma is the other one. So many people have mycoplasma running in the background as well. And it is an under-scanned issue. And even in the biomagnetism world, I've not heard many practitioners talking about mycoplasma. Like, I know Garcia and a lot of them will talk about tuberculosis and malaria to test for those, but not as much mycoplasma, CMV. I have, throughout the years now, I have my own placements. I have added on placements for Epstein-Barr. So I don't just do the normal placements. I've actually added on several pairs and found that they work really well. I've added on pairs because of my research for mycoplasma and for CMV as well. Cytomegalovirus seems to go hand in hand with Epstein-Barr and with mycoplasma. And then there's certain points I just always treat. Like behind the knees, I always treat, because that is a reservoir that hides a bunch of stuff. And funny enough, it's what causes knee problems. And then these people are running out and getting knee replacement surgery. It's like, but you don't need to. Same with the shoulder stuff. You don't have to. There are ways to handle that. Magnets is one of them, and it's pretty damn amazing how much it works. Yeah. If you have, Leah, if you're working with a lot of people and you see Epstein-Barr, pneumococcal pneumonia hides behind the knees. It will also hide, although this isn't one of the called for placements, it will also hide in the axilla or retroaxilla. So I always place over the axilla and then also under. So you'll get stuff here. It will also hide on the inside of the elbows, which is the brachial artery placement. So Epstein-Barr, and for any of you that are biomagnetism practitioners, take note. Axilla, retroaxilla, axilla, however you say it. The brachial artery point inside of the elbow, right? And then I add behind the knees. Now, I have other placements too that I place. Those are proprietary for me. But I found that if you add those on when you're working with someone with Epstein-Barr, you're going to have far greater results than if you don't. You always have to do whether, and that's another point that's not there, is the sympathetic nervous system. You've got to work on the SEM and the vagus nerve. You have to. Both. One of my random points for myself is behind the knees. Yeah. It's amazing the amount. That's a reservoir that I don't think gets covered quite as much as it should, or talked about as much as it should. A lot of things hide behind the knees, but any kind of pneumococcal pneumonia, sometimes Epstein-Barr will hide in the joints, anywhere there's joints. So think in terms of joints. So, and look, y'all, I've worked with people with arthritis. Usually they've got pathogens hiding in their joints, right? So think wrists, think in the finger joints, think shoulders, hips, knees. Hips are the same thing. Like, work on the hips. Make sure that you're addressing the hips, especially in older people, because typically, and people that sit a lot, for those of you that sit a lot, this is for you, just saying. And I sit a lot. I have been getting better. I brought my stand-up thingy in here so that I could start working standing up, and I have been. It's been feeling better. But for people that sit a lot, guess where a lot of your pathogens hide? Red light therapy is okay. It's good to help start tissue healing. It helps promote tissue healing for sure. Stabby unicorn. Red light therapy is not something that is going to address the pathogens, however. That's totally different. Like when we're talking biomagnetism therapy, when you're talking magnets, we're placing on different parts of your organs, your body, and it's creating the flow the proper way so that the body can heal. And a lot of times the pathogens, they can't survive the minute you put those magnets on, so you start to get die off. I also think in terms of spots of where people, eczema and arthritis pathways, I do around hips all the way up the spine and along the legs. Cool. Yeah. It just depends. I mean, for women too, one of the big reservoirs that things tend to hide is in your pelvis. And funny, because between my pelvis and abdomen is where my cancer tumor started, right? Even though I had a hysterectomy and everything. Boom. No worries, Lisa. So yeah, I like red light therapy for certain things. I think it's good for promoting healing, for promoting collagen, things like that. It isn't going to address pathogens, unfortunately. It's great if you're looking to fix your skin, you're looking to bring some blood flow. Red light therapy is good for that, but it doesn't address pathogens. What do you mean sinuses also? What are we referring to exactly, Miss Lisa? Because, I mean, it depends. Like sinuses are involved if, right? Like it's not a given. Sinuses are a different bird, different beast. But what, in regards to sinuses, what are you referring to? Because all you wrote was sinuses also. also. Are you talking about the red light therapy is good for sinuses? It might be. I don't know. I don't use it for that. But yeah. Would you stop? A place where pathogens hang out. Your upper sinuses up here. Okay. Your frontal sinuses. Yes, pathogens will hang out there. The thing with the sinuses that are almost good is sinuses are typically, because they're small, they're contained. Like the size of your sinuses are so small. They're contained, right? Not like your gut, not like your brainstem. Epstein-Barr loves to attack the brainstem. Epstein-Barr, for those of you with any kind of thyroid issue, one of the first places EBV goes after is your thyroid. So anyone with Graves, anyone with Hashimoto's, anyone with hypothyroid, hyperthyroid, work the Epstein-Barr angle. Take the lorcine, take the lysine, take oregano oil. All y'all need to have oregano oil on hand all the freaking time, especially now that things with medicine have gotten so much more expensive. You know, it is a natural antimicrobial, antibacterial, antiparasitic, antiviral. Oregano oil tastes very strong, but that stuff can kill all those things. All those things. It's strong. Like some people have to work their way up to 2 pills because it is so strong. And then the die-off from it, you have to take into account. So you never take oregano oil without having a backup supply of activated charcoal, because you need a binder if you hit what's called a Herxheimer effect, a detox effect, so that you can pull that stuff out of your system. So red light in my mind is more of the symptoms, and magnets address the root. Red light's more of so red light therapy and even blue light therapy, those therapies are more, I want to say, surface level. So think muscle, think tissue, right? Think bringing blood to the surface and sort of stirring up collagen production. That's red light therapy. It does not, it's not going to address pathogens. Red light therapy cannot address pathogens. Glutathione's good for detox along with activated charcoal. Yes, true. But some people, glutathione becomes too strong. Everybody's different. It's not one of the things I recommend to my clients when they're first taking care of their chronic issues. Glutathione can sometimes be a little too strong. NAC is something that I recommend. It actually helps with glutathione production within your body. So NAC is one of those supplements that pretty much anybody can take, and it helps with detox and lymphatic drainage and all the things, right? A lot of people can't handle glutathione, and there's a lot of brands of glutathione that are shit. So you got to be careful with that stuff too, right? Like it was real trendy a few years ago. Everyone was on the glutathione train. Kind of like everyone got on the NAD train, and then they realized, oh shit, it's not NAD that you need, it's NMN. It's funny. It's just funny. You take NAC. Yeah, NAC is amazing. And for anyone that has respiratory issues, NAC is essential, but it's very good for detox. It's very, very good if you have any kind of mucus problems. But actually, NAC is one of the easier on your system detox mechanisms. So I like NAC. Your brain likes NAC. Your body likes NAC. It's one of the things I do tend to recommend if people are not taking it. But again, it depends on what are they taking. Are they on meds, like prescriptions? Are they already taking a ton of supplements? I'm more supplement light. However, there are times when you have to supplement the body if your body's been in depletion mode for a very long time. So every client's different. Like every client's different. But yeah, little Miss Macy, what do you want? What do you want? What? No. She's like leaning on my microphone to pay attention to her. No. Anywho, if you guys don't have any questions, then I'm gonna go. I'm excited. I'll come back and fill you guys back in once I meet her sister. When her sister comes in, because she is experiencing such severe health issues. You know, when you drop at 73 years old, when you get down to 91 pounds, 92 pounds, this is some serious shit, and you can't eat, right? No, it's a new client. I just worked on one woman today. She's actually studying under the Goy's sons, Dr. Goy's sons in Colombia. She's Colombian, but she lives here in the area. And she found me on Google. She started taking their training for magnets, which is 15 weeks long. They haven't even gotten to the scan stuff yet, but she wanted to have it done on her because, as you know, Leah, the puppy, this is Brindy, one of Brindy's dogs. She just got shaved, so she's kind of looking ratty, but this is Macy. Brindy went to pick Addie up from dance. So Milo is here and Macy is here. And Penny I don't know where Penny is. She's probably on the couch in the house. She prefers to stay on the couch. So whatever. But, yeah, I thought you met my client. I will fill you guys in though, because pancreatitis, she had surgery to remove a mass that was on her pancreas as well. It came back as benign, not malignant. So that was very good news. But the fact that she has blocked ducts, pancreatic ducts, is making her life miserable. And that's why she's losing weight. She can't eat. You know, she's having pancreatic-like attacks, which are far worse. If you've ever had a gallbladder attack, it's like a million times worse than a gallbladder attack. Pancreas attacks are horrible. And for the doctors to say there's really nothing more we can do, it just makes me really upset for her. Like, no, there's a lot that can be done. So don't listen to that. So my new client says, I can't, I'm going to bring her in. Stop by her house on my way home. I was like, no problem. Look at biomagnetism again. It's up to you. I mean, the thing about it is, you know, it's good if it's something that you, first of all, want to use for yourself and your family, right? I'll be honest, as well-versed in natural medicine as I am, as long as I've been working on clients now for 26 years with all, you know, going back. She even knew my machine. She goes, you have a QXCI and scale? Yes. Oh my God. Because she has a Beamer. She was like, that is so cool. I was like, yeah, I don't use it unless I have to. Like, I will use it if I really need to hook somebody up and really see deep down what's going on. I won't use it for frequencies because the generator is not as good, but the intake is still great. But as long as I've been doing this, you know, it takes a while to get clients. It's not lucrative, y'all. It just, people don't want to pay for whatever reason. I don't know what the deal is. People a lot of times do not want to pay to get better. They'll pay for prescriptions. They'll pay their copays. They won't pay to have the stuff resolved. It's beyond me. Like, I don't understand that mentality. When I was sick, I drove my ass in the winter on New Year's Eve to Colorado to get colon hydrotherapy from a therapist that I knew from when I lived there with ozone. Me, my daughter, my son-in-law, my granddaughter drove there in the snow, stayed in a hotel for 2 days for me to get work done for the ozone treatment. Came home. Did it kill the cancer? No. In fact, it really hurt. But, you know, did it help a little? It probably did. Doctors seem to only know about pharmaceuticals. That's the way they're trained. That's the way they're trained. It's not their fault. Honestly, like, I don't blame Western trained doctors because that is how they're trained. It does take time to get clients. Yes, it is amazing work. I love doing sessions. There's nothing better than witnessing someone's transformation in an hour, getting someone out of pain, resolving their issues. You know what I mean? And I get some pretty hard cases. MS is not a joke. Myasthenia gravis, not. I get some hardcore cases. People come to me, and I'm blessed that I've been able to help so many people. But a lot of people that are struggling with things like long haul, they're like, I don't know why they're not invested in their own health. Like this woman that I've been running on Rife 24/7 for 4 solid months. I rotate the frequencies through. I have several programs, and we have stacked things over the last 4 months. She's like, I feel so good. And every time it comes up to the end of her thing, she's like, I want to continue. I don't try to sell anybody anything. She was referred to me, but she was getting results after the first month, continue the second. Things started to change even more, continue the third. And then things got even better. She continued the fourth. She wants to see this through. You only want it as a means of self-treatment. All right, on. It's very good. But honestly, Lisa, I'm going to be honest with you. One of the hardest things to do on yourself is magnets. To do a full session on yourself could take hours because it's so hard to place the magnets, especially if you have a lot of facial or head magnets. It's hard to get them on yourself without them snapping together. Because if you look, okay, you have to get down. You're getting on my nerves. Watch. Oh. See how fast that snap? These things stick to each other so easy that when they're strong. So when you're trying to place and you've got pairs next to each other, they snap together. And then you gotta take whatever you got on your face, and it's a pain in the ass. If I were you, I would find a practitioner or find someone like me who's good at long distance, right? Like, find a practitioner. Aside from when you get off the table, you're just jello. You feel completely relaxed. It's very nice. If they do it right. I went to a practitioner that did not do it very well. Like, I was very disappointed at the end of my session. And mind you, this was a year before I ended up hospitalized, but I already had the tumor in my body. It was way smaller than what it ended up being. I mean, it ended up being like huge, but I could feel the ball. I knew that I had a tumor and I knew it was cancerous. And when she scanned me, she's like, you just have parasites. Yes, I do long distance. So I use a mannequin. I use Lola, and she goes on my table, and then she's the proxy. She's the surrogate. I place on her just like I'm doing a session on you. The people that I've helped with myasthenia gravis and multiple sclerosis, both of them happen to live on the East Coast, one in Virginia, one in Maryland. The one in Maryland with myasthenia gravis got her port out that they said she was going to have to keep in to keep getting her blood taken out and putting back in with blood parenthesis. It's such a weird name. I can't say it. But yeah, she got her port out after we worked together and did magnets long distance. So yeah. Anywho, it isn't a one and done. Like, I really want to be clear on that for anyone who's watching and they're like, I want a magnet session. Magnet sessions, like anything natural, takes more than one session. You will feel good after one session. I got my client Jarrett, who was hospitalized 110 times in 10 years, had a mystery stomach pain to where he had become emaciated and was very, very thin. 2 sessions, changed his diet. After 2 sessions, he was good. The first session actually was the bomb, but then he messed it up because he felt so good after not having pain, and having to deal with that pain for 10 years prior. He, on New Year's Eve, blew it and ate some bad stuff and drank alcohol, and it just unwound everything I did. Came back, treated again with the magnets, and then he was fine. Gained weight, started ice skating again, and it was a lingering, hidden infection that no one ever caught. All those hospital stays, nobody ever caught it. So for him, it was fast. He's young though. He's 34. I think he was 33 when I was working on him. Everybody's different. Chronic conditions take longer, But like I said, what I've been doing and has been working really well with my clients, Biomag, follow it up with Rife. Like, I recommend that people follow it up with Rife, whether you do a week, you do a month, but follow it up with Rife and then another Biomag session, depending on the condition. If you got something serious, chronic, you want to stay after it. So like on my Rife, I have programs I've already created: Epstein-Barr, Mycoplasma, CMV, right? Like all of those 24/7. It's going after it. And then during the day, I have other ones that create drainage, and then create more balance within the organs. And I always customize programs for my clients depending on what part of their body is being affected. So yeah, diet is so essential. And knowing, especially, so here's the other thing that some of you may not know. I'm trying to stay out of that light. It's like shining right on me. I have to put my thing back on. Some of you may not know, one of the other things that they are actually realizing now is that MCAS is one of the things that comes out of COVID. So Leah, check for that too. Mast cell activation syndrome is one of the things they're showing over and over again with people that have had COVID. So, and with that, with the CAC, the COVID associated cystitis, they're finding MCAS tied directly in with the CAC as well. But people are being treated for IC because the doctors don't know the recent studies. It is huge. MCAS right now has blown up. Since when? COVID. MCAS was not a big issue until COVID. So why are they not aware of that? Why are they not checking for it? Why are they writing their clients off? And it's even worse if you had the jab. Like, it's been way worse if you have the jab. Eventually, people are going to have to address these things, because if you don't take care of the underlying pathogen drivers, no matter what prescriptions they give you, you're still going to have all the symptoms. They're just masking symptoms. A lot of the stuff that they're giving people, they're masking the system. They might, with some of the antibiotics, knock it back, but a lot of people are becoming antibiotic resistant or allergic to the antibiotics, and that's a problem. So if you can go natural, go natural. If you can find natural remedies, go natural, because you're not actually hurting your system. The worst side effects of the work that I do as a biomagnetism practitioner, or with Rife, scalar, PEMF, ultrasound, and even like the Tesla coil, the worst side effects is the Herxheimer effect. Detox. The system all of a sudden detoxes too fast, and the liver and the lymphatics can't keep up. But I have the technology to assist the body in doing that too with my Rife. So even that, because there are times when I've worked on somebody with magnets and they end up detoxing really fast, and because their liver's sluggish, they can't detox stuff fast enough, or the lymphatics are plugged. I will just put the frequencies on to assist with detox. And all of a sudden their lymphatics start to drain and their liver starts to clear, and boom, But yeah, It's amazing all the stuff that's coming out. It just really upsets me that someone like this 73-year-old woman who has been suffering in pain and losing so much weight and is stuck at home because her health has just declined since COVID. Herx is rough unless you detox well. There's ways to ensure that the Herx is doable. Right? There's ways. Binders are super important, super important. I like charcoal, but sometimes you have to mix charcoal depending on the person. Sometimes you have to mix. I don't like bentonite. I don't like that, can constipate people, so it actually makes the problems worse. But there's different kinds of binders, like zeolite's one of them too, that you can use. Yeah. Anywho, all right. I gotta get. God, it is time for my dog to eat. My penny dog, and then I need to feed myself, and then I have to go teach Charm Life. We have so much fun. We have a lot of new stuff going on in Charm Life, so even that, like, I'm super excited. If you guys haven't been to my website lately, I just redid it, all of it. I am taking new clients now. I'm taking all services are open now. I am my schedule's still very blocked down. I'm never going to go back to the level of service that I did before, the number of hours I did before. Since having cancer, I'm very aware of, and being 59 years old, I'm very aware of what I'm willing to do and not willing to do to my body moving forward. So all of my services are now open, whether that's private sessions, health sessions, Charm Life, Hidden Wisdom, all the stuff is open. For now, my intensives, I think I've only got room for 2 more private ongoing clients, because I have taken on a couple new clients. So, executive clients. So yeah, but if you guys want to get in with me, just go look up my website. Everything's outlined, and then my scheduler's there, my booking thing's there, and we'll go from there. But hope that helped. I'm going to download this for you guys in Hidden Wisdom. I will put this in your portal so that you have ongoing access to it in the health section, where we have all of the health classes for root cause stuff. This will also be in there for you guys, so it's in your library in one place. I hope you guys have a good Thursday. Have a good day. It is nice to see you too. Yeah, it's cool. It's good to see you, Miss Lisa. I've just recently been streaming on Facebook because I got new streaming software. Since I stream on TikTok a lot more than I come on multi-platforms. When it's stuff like this, then I will come onto Facebook and YouTube. But I've been spending a lot of time over on TikTok. Although since the sale of TikTok, it's been wonky over there. The audience has been wonky, and yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching, Stabby Unicorn. It's good to see you too. I will see you guys later for sure. For sure, I'll come on sometime this weekend. We'll check in with the energy and everything going on in the world. And then the Unknot show, the call-in live show that we did last night, will be on Wednesdays from here on out, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. So put that on your calendar, or make sure you're following me on whatever platform you're on, because we do broadcast that one across the board. Okay? See you guys later.